हेलो एवरीवन, वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। आज 3 फरवरी 2023, दिन है फ्राइडे और आज हम करने जा रहे हैं द इंडियन एक्सप्रेस के न्यूज़ एनालिसिस। इस वीडियो के थ्रू कंप्लीटली द इंडियन एक्सप्रेस के न्यूज़ एनालिसिस होगी। वीडियो पसंद हो तो वीडियो को लाइक करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। फर्स्ट पेज पे डे आफ्टर यूनियन बजट, हमारे जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर है शुड नॉट बी मिस द बस दिस टाइम, पीएम कीप said keep growth momentum intact. Finance Minister says he expected 50% of the taxpayer to shift to the new exemption-free tax regime. जो यूनियन बजट 2023-2024 की बजट की गई है पार्लियामेंट में, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है कि जो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर है वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं 50% टैक्स पेयर जो शिफ्ट होने वाले हैं न्यू जो टैक्स रिजीम है उस पर, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है। Market hammers flagship Adani Enterprises again. RBI seek detail from the bank on the exposure to Adani Frame. अडानी की प्राइसेस फिर से लगातार गिरावट देखी गई रही है मार्केट में, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया कि आज द मार्केट कंटिन्यू टू हैमर टू स्टॉक विद द फ्लैगशिप अडानी इंटरप्राइजेस डिपिंग अनदर 26.50% ओवर द 100 बिलियन शेयर ऑफ द गवर्न ग्रुप टोटल मार्केट कैपिटल। रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने साउट किया डिटेल्स फ्रॉम द बैंक अबाउट द एक्सपोजर टू द ग्रुप, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। हाउस स्टेल अपोजिशन रिलीज टू फॉर द जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी इनटू अडानी अफेयर। सेंसेक्स इन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू पुट मोदी गवर्नमेंट ऑन द मैट इन ए क्रिशियल इलेक्शन ईयर। द अपोजिशन थर्सडे put an united front seeking to probe for the either joint parliamentary committee or headed by the Supreme Court or the monitoring by the Chief Justice of India into the allegation on accounting fraud, stock manipulation against the Adani Group, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। और छोटा सा आर्टिकल है कप्पन आउट आफ्टर 2 years टारगेट ओवर द माई वर्क। More than the 2 years after the arrested by the Uttar Pradesh police while heading to the Hathras home of young Dalit women who died after the alleged gang rape, journalist Siddiqui Kappan was released, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये छोटा सा आर्टिकल है। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे। DTC bus where to avoid two-wheeler crash into the car lamp up in subway. CM inaugurated BR Ambedkar SOSE more than come up soon. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal along with the Deputy Manish Sisodia Tuesday inaugurate किए हैं न्यू बिल्डिंग डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर स्कूल ऑफ स्पेशलाइज्ड एक्सीलेंस DESU कॉलोनी जाकीपुरी, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे। ED चार्जशीट आप यूज्ड लिकर पॉलिसी किकबैक टू फंड गोवा पोल कैंपेनिंग। इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर ने एलेज किया है सप्लीमेंट्री चार्जशीट टू एलेज द प्रोसीड ऑफ क्रिमिनल रिसीव थ्रू द किकबैक अंडर द दिल्ली एक्साइज पॉलिसी यूटिलाइज्ड बाय द आम आदमी पार्टी इन 2022 गोवा असेंबली इलेक्शन। द एजेंसी ऑल्सो क्लेम दैट द party need was for the funding the election in Punjab Goa for the fund requirement was urgent, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पर डोंट शिप पीपल फ्रॉम G20 समिट लोकेशन इन क्लासियस इनहेरेंट मैनर से LG। Nobody residing in the location related to infrastructure for the G20 summit should be moved in classious and inhuman manner without the being provided require assistance LG VK सेना on Tuesday at the permit to chair review preparation of for the event, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे दिल्ली सो मोस्ट आवर ऑफ डेंस फॉग इन दिसंबर एंड जनवरी सिंस 2017। दिल्ली हैज हाईएस्ट आवर ऑफ द डेंस फॉग व्हेन द विजिबिलिटी लेस देन द 200 मीटर इन दिसंबर एंड जनवरी this winter season of 2017-18 winter data from the Indian Meteorology Department show, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। आश्रम फ्लाईओवर likely to be opened by the February end, Sisodia। आश्रम flyover shuts in the beginning of the year likely to be thrown upon the end of the month, Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia said Tuesday। DU Mold receiving 2 supplementary seats to in each UG PG course for the orphan student। Delhi University now will be considered admission orphan student through the supplementary quota to 2 seats for each program of study at the undergraduate or postgraduate level, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे। गवर्नमेंट proposed judge search panel, only a facultatory decision will be with collegium. Underlining the final decision of recommended judges will be the main with the collegium. Government on Tuesday told parliamentary that the search and the location committee has suggested Chief Justice of India will only act as the फैसिलेटर. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल जाइए, क्योंकि हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जजेस की अपॉइंटमेंट होने वाली है, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल है. अडानी रो opposition party force house adjournment. Both House of Parliament could not be function on Tuesday as the opposition demand the discussion of allegation level US-based short seller Hindenburg research in Adani Group. तो उसके रिलेटेड आर्टिकल दिया गया. With Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdish Dhankar refusing to allow discussion, both House are adjourned first time soon after the assemble. They are the adjourned for the day at 2 am. Maharashtra Registration of Council poll, MBA wins 2 of 5 seats, beat the BJP on the Gadkari home for Nagpur. In the first electoral test of the Maharashtra government led by the Chief Justice Eknath Shinde and Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, opposition Maha Vikas Aghadi on Tuesday emerged victorious in out of 2 legislative council that went polled. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. Supreme Court uphold the order to the raise and edible oil tanks of the Adani JV. Upholding the 2020 decision, National Green Tribunal, the Supreme Court has the order demolition of edible oil storage and transit terminal run by the KTV Oil Mills and KTV Health Food joint venture of Adani Oilmart Limited and KTV Group in a Chennai on referred cost of violating coastal zone regulation. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. आसाम ड्राइव अगेंस्ट द चाइल्ड मैरिज, अरेस्ट इन 4000 केस से सीएम. आसाम के चीफ मिनिस्टर हेमंत बिस्वा शर्मा ने ट्यूसडे में अनाउंस किया कि अरेस्ट किया विल बी बिगन मोर देन द 4000 केसेस अगेंस्ट द चाइल्ड मैरिज रजिस्टर्ड इन द स्टेट इन द लास्ट 9 days. तो उसके रिलेटेड आर्टिकल दिए गए. आटा बर्निंग होलो इन पैकेट, गवर्नमेंट स्टार्ट सेलिंग इन द 29.5 per kg एट द कोऑपरेटिव स्टोर. With the price of atta, wheat, flour and hovering over the 38 per kg, Union Food Minister on Tuesday said the cooperatives such as the Kendriya Bhandar and Feed had agreed to supply 29.5 per kg under the Bharat Atta name. तो उसके रिलेटेड आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. इन जमात्रा ऑल पंचायत बिल्डिंग टर्न इनटू द लाइब्रेरी एंड स्टडी क्लियर सर्कल फॉर द यूथ. Rahul Chakravarti is sitting pretty this day, 25 years old from Nala block in the Jharkhand Jamatra district, each of the Grijab merit list and Grameen Bank and physically test way for the qualifying for the railway group D examination and non-technical jobs. However, until 2018, all Chakravarti knew has the needed to government job, but the clueless about the how to work toward his goal. He know the associate himself the coaching institute and monitoring will be help to, but the family dependent on the father tailoring job. There was a little money to spare. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. तमिलनाडु लॉयर प्रोटेस्ट टू द प्रेसिडेंट कॉलेजियम अगेंस्ट द बिड टू अपॉइंटमेंट गौरी एज द हाई कोर्ट जज. Group of 21 lawyers of the Madras High Court have been written to President Draupadi Murmu and the Supreme Court Collegium asking the name of Lakshmi Victoria Gauri as a senior law officer to be withdrawn from the list to those recommended appointment as the judges to High Court. तो उसके रिलेटेड आर्टिकल दिए गए. ये 1000 किलोमीटर लॉन्ग जर्नी, लिविंग नो स्टोन unturned for the Ram temple, traveling 1000 kilometers over a week and chartered on the truck and worship to devotee along the way, the gradually by the police personnel and 2 pilgrim stone weighing of the 31 tons and 15 tons each reached अयोध्या on Tuesday. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. नारवाला IED blast, JK Group arrest the teacher and recover the perfume bomb. Jammu Kashmir police said that Tuesday they have the arrest government school teacher from the Raisi in the Jammu for his alleged involvement in the latest 3 separate terror attack in the region, including the IED blast in Narwala that injured 9 people Last month during the arrest, people said they also recovered the perfume IED. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. Supreme Court junk pill seeking bar on twin candidature in poll. Supreme Court on Tuesday dismissed किया appeal को seeking the direction of candidate and election cannot be contested simultaneously from the two constitutions, saying there is no manifesto arbitration in it and it is up to legislature to decide whether to make any charges. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे. केरला कपल चेयर टू द डेथ एज द कार कैच फायर. सुप्रीम कोर्ट अलाउ प्रेग्नेंट 20 years old child to given for the adoption. नेक्स्ट पेज पे एक्सप्रेस इंटरव्यू. दिस इज ए गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर इंडिया. वी शुड रियलिटी नॉट मिस द बस दिस टाइम देन देयरफॉर गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर नीड टू कंटिन्यू. A day after presenting her fifth consecutive budget, Union Minister Nirmala Sitharaman spoke to the Angela Mangini, Analsila and Padyantra Nair at her first floor concern office in North Block. Indian Express, overall the response to the budget has been the positive. What has been one main thing you will be mind to when you begin to work on budget? Nirmala Sitharaman, one thing from the day of presentation for the budget was been very clear in mind. Thankfully, Prime Minister also the board of the he said growth of momentum rokna chahiye. We need to keep the growth momentum. If anything, we need to speed up, oil it better and run it better, and that is the why this number was a 10 lakh crore the capital expenditure come up. ये पूरा इंटरव्यू दिया गया है, आप इसे सेल्फ नॉलेज से पढ़ सकते हैं. इसमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें दी हुई है. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट पेज पे, जो एडिटोरियल की पेज है. एडिंग टीट ऑफ बजट अर्थमेटिक KPI रीजनेबल बट द कंटिन्यू स्केलिंग डाउन द डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट टारगेट इज काजेस फॉर द कंसर्न. तो यूनियन बजट 2023-2024 जो गवर्नमेंट ने रीअफ्रीम की है कमिटमेंट टू पाथ फॉर फिजिकल कंसोलिडेशन फॉर द स्टेइंग विद द फिजिकल डेफिसिट टारगेट टू द 6.4% ऑफ GDP इन 2022-2023. The budget have now projected lowering to the deficit 5.9% in 2023-2024 and then the less than 4.5% 2025-2026. While the last year the government had been consecutively adopting the form basic of this physical math, leading the actual revenue exceed budget target. This time around the assumption made the more reasonable even the concern over the macroeconomic environmental. इस साल की जो बजट आई है उसमें फिजिकल डेफिसिट को कम करने की कोशिश की है और 2025 तक 4.5% ऑफ GDP लाने की कोशिश की है. तो इसके रिलेटेड ये पूरा आर्टिकल देंगे, आप इसे सेल्फ नॉलेज से पढ़ सकते हैं. An eye on the future. Budget takes the long view, reflect the punches of politics, leadership and confidence in continued stability. Are all budget individually constitutional as the mainly and flagship existing in the reality and crystallized glazing. Budget in innovative amalgamation, it come into the backdrop of the impending state election and general election of 2024. Temptation of excessive subsidies and measure the design for the influence the electoral psyches are inevitable. It is the laudable when the short-term temptation are the sum in favor of long-term outcomes. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. What the budget do Indian commitment for an orderly transition to green economy? Does it opposition India well not only the for COP28 in UAE but India presidency of the G20? The announcement including the 35,000 crore allocation for the energy transition and need zero carbon emission target, the annual production target of the 5 million megatron by the 2030 green hydrogen mission and green credit program under the Environmental Protection Act to incentive the sustainable action, issue of the incentive functioning risk mitigation for the crowding in the private investment and the security participation of multilateral institute will need to continue engaged. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है. Many a crisis. Pakistan economy will peel off even as the play is the intimacy between the security establishment and extreme group. Pakistan several crises coming together again, and economically country is average of becoming the second. Sri Lanka with acute twin deficit problem with required to large bailout from the IMF from bilateral donor. IMF team is currently in Pakistan and want to government to consolidate its physical through the step that will make the Shahbaz Sharif government to more unpopular than its. Last week, the value of Pakistan rupees plunged into lowest against the US dollar as the government lose control of exchange rate ahead of the IMF visit. पाकिस्तान में जो लगातार बदहाली देखी जा रही है और वहाँ पर जो पेशावर में ब्लास्ट हुए मस्जिद में, तो उसके ऊपर लेके ये आर्टिकल दिया गया कि आईएमएफ से इनको लोन चाहिए और अभी भी आईएमएफ लोन नहीं दिया गया और आईएमएफ के जो सीनियर ऑफिसर हैं वो पाकिस्तान के विजिट में हैं। अगर उनको लोन नहीं मिलता तो ये श्रीलंका की तरह पाकिस्तान की हालत होगी, तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है। It is time to act and period. Criticism of ministerial leave policy is blind to its impact of physical and mental health. On January 24, Indian Express carried an editorial time to talk period laying out both benefit and cost mandatory menstrual leave policy and specifically at the workplace, seeking to the social and economical implications such as a policy. It is said the special period leave could become another execution of discrimination in many. My opinion, the path of quality does not lie in the inaction due to the fear of further discrimination. What is need to the holistic outlook aim to the bridge gap. Much of the criticism of the ministerial leave policy is optimistic and fail to seek the lasting impact such as a policy could have the overall physical and mental wellness of citizen. Next articles by the right note. Australia is finally decided to rid of the $5 note of British loyalty. It is about time. It's been nearly 5 months since the previous sovereignty of the British Empire died, but the loyalty, like to so many other grand fictions, cast a long shadow. Image of Queen Elizabeth have a unique weight, not just the Britisher but also in the symbolic remaining of the empire. Now that the Reserve Bank of Australia announcing the $5 note will no longer be carry the image of monarchy, King Charles. Now the its aristocratic tie with the mother country better than the never. तो उसके ऊपर ये पूरा आर्टिकल दिया गया। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट पेज पे, जो आइडियाज पेज है। बजट फॉर द फ्यू, स्टेबिलिटी इन द achieve at the expansion of the poor and rural sector, increasing in capital expenditure cannot produce the desired outcome unless the major government's reform are initiated against the cronyism. Looking at the reaction in the media to the union budget, it will be apparent that many have been carried away for the lofty ideas of Amrit Kaal and greeting and high-tech scheme and the surge in capital expenditure. Very few seem the remarkable what the Mahatma Gandhi said. Recall the face of the poorest and weakest man you have seen and ask yourself if this step completed this going to be एनी यूज टू हिम। तो उसके रिलेटेड ये पूरा आर्टिकल दिया गया है, जो बजट से क्या पूरा गरीब और जितने भी पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन प्रोग्राम है उसमें क्या मदद मिलेगी, उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है। पार्टी टू द बेस, डिस्पाइट द बीजेपी प्रोमिसेस टू द इंट्रोड्यूस वुमेन्स रिजर्वेशन बिल, गवर्नमेंट हैज नॉट डन सो, बजट सेशन इज लाइकली टू नो डिफरेंस। All parties in the opposition have jointly taken a call unless the union government themselves disturb the functioning of parliament. Debate on the monsoon, thanks to President, will be began to both houses on Monday at 2 p.m. Speaker from the 20 parties will scare Modi government, LIC, SBI and public sector institute being the first to invest questionable enterprises, which is lead to the massive losses. These public sector institutions have the custodian and the head earned saving of the crores of poor and middle classes. A scheme of the monumental proportion must be discussed on the floor of the parliament. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया है। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे। लाइफ लेसन फॉर ऑल, इंडिया G20 presidency can have the spread and sustainable development program. Past year has been onset of the world first truly global energy crisis with the turbulent market and price sparking difficult to citizen, business and government. Although the India has been more insulated from the crisis than many countries, it has still been affected, with the world also connecting the major challenges of the climate change, air pollution and latest crisis have promoted many people to look into the and how they are use energy. तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिया, आप इसे सेल्फ नॉलेज से पढ़ सकते हैं। अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट पेज पे जो एक्सप्लेन की है द कंट्रोवर्सी अराउंड द अमृत्य सेन शांतिकेनन होम विश्व भारती यूनिवर्सिटी BU the Wednesday said the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee sees with their ears and they believe what he close associates say. This come after Banerjee Monday met to Nobel Literature Amartya Sen and begged him to the ongoing the tussle with the university authorities over the land dispute. तो उसके ऊपर ये पूरा आर्टिकल देंगे, आप इसे सेल्फ नॉलेज से पढ़ सकते हैं. Dear could be reservoir of the old कोरोना वायरस वेरिएंट सजेस्ट यूएस बेस्ड स्टडी. जो अल्फा और गामा वेरिएंट है कोरोना वायरस के कंटिन्यू सर्कुलेट हो रहे हैं, रिवॉल्व हो रहे हैं व्हाइट टेल डियर में इवन आफ्टर दे स्टॉप टू स्प्रेडिंग वाइडली अमंग द पीपल द न्यू स्टडी सजेस्ट. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. चूजिंग द राइट टैक्स रिजिम. While there is a view that the new tax regime will be weaken the saving culture and taxpayer should keep aside 1 lakh to 2 lakh for the investment which they will be anyway have done under the old system. जो बजट आई है यूनियन बजट 2023-2024 की, उसमें जो न्यू टैक्स रिजिम के बात की गई है तो उसके रिलेटेड ये आर्टिकल दिए क्या इससे बेनिफिट होगा, क्या इससे 1 लाख या 2 लाख इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए निकलेंगे. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. बी थिंकिंग टैक्स स्लैब एंड रेट इन द न्यू पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स रिजिम इन बजट 2023-2024 फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर निर्मला सीतारमण noted the taxpayer toward the simplified hurdle free tax regime with the minimal compliance burden against the more compliance old system. तो उसके ऊपर ये पूरा आर्टिकल है. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल पे. प्रपोज पेन माउंटेन टू करुणानिधि प्लान एंड क्रिटिसिज्म. जो प्लान किए ऑफशोर मेमोरियल टू लेट DMK Patrichary M. Karunanidhi was opposed by the representative of some opposition parties and fishermen and environmental group on the ground of environmental damage and loss of livelihood of the Chennai this week. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. आर्टिस्ट इम्प्रेस द पेन मेमोरियल. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल है. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट पेज पे जो वर्ल्ड की है. इन द लेटेस्ट मूव अगेंस्ट द इमरान एंड एलाइज एक्स मिनिस्टर हेल्ड ओवर द जादरी चार्जेस. मॉस्क्यू बॉम्ब वाज द पुलिस इन यूनिफॉर्म IGP. पाकिस्तान पुलिस ट्यूसडे में अरेस्ट किया फॉर्मर इंटरनल मिनिस्टर रशीद अहमद फ्रॉम द हिज होम टू एक्यूजिंग एक्स प्रेसिडेंट आसिफ अली जादरी फॉर प्लॉटिंग द किल फॉर्मर PM इमरान खान. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल है. जो सुसाइड बॉम्ब हु किल द 101 people at the mosque inside the major police facility in Peshawar city had disguised himself in the police uniform to sneak into the high security zone and reaching motorcycle with the helmet, mask on and top of police official on Tuesday. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. UE team in Kiev, Russia keep up the attack in the east. President Vladimir Zelensky agreed UE leader to drink talks in the Kiev on Tuesday to slap more sanctions on Russia as the Moscow pressed over the offensive in the eastern Ukraine and fire missile into the city of Kharkov near the front line. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. Israel settler population in West Bank crossed the 100K, up 16% in 5 years. Israel West Bank settler population now make up more than the 500,000 people and pro-settle group. They said this Thursday, crossing the major threshold and settler group predict even faster population grow under the Israel new ultra nationalism government. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. Canadian MPs back plan for the resettlement of the 10,000 Uyghurs. Canadian Parliament Wednesday unanimously voted for the favor of the non-binding proposal for the resettlement of 10,000 Uyghur Muslim refugees from the Xinjiang region into the Canada over the 2 years. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. हाउस ऑफ कॉमन vote 3-2-0 for the regular member of parliament Samir Jabri's bill, which also called the government to recognize that the Uyghur and ethnic Turki Muslim who have been filled third countries says pressure in the intimidation by the China to return. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. एयर पोल्यूशन स्पाइक above the safe level. Thailand asks people to stay indoor. Air population in Bangkok and neighboring Thai provinces spiked past safe level on Tuesday, promoting the authorities to urge people to stay indoors and avoid the spontaneous outdoor activities. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. Paris club to have the debt hit Linka back. Paris club creditor national is ready to provide financial assistance to Sri Lanka. Key step need to the unlock the 2.9 billion bailout by the International Monetary Fund and two source with the direct knowledge of the matter told Reuters. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. USA sweeping report show legal gun more likely used in crimes. Most expensive federal report in the over the 2 decades on the gun and crime show the seeking turmoil between the time a gun was purchased and when it is recovered from a crime scene in the indicating the firearm brought legally are the more quick and being used for the crime around the country. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल्स पे जो इकोनॉमिक की है. Why proposed change was the rattle Indian startup? The recently proposed क्या detail the Indian startup worried the new age frame that of the fair. They are the fear of the foreign investor they have to pay in the Ingle tax, which was early only proposed to the pair to investment rise by the resident India investor as per the motion made by the Finance Bill 2023. This move adversely impact financing available to startups which have already been railing under the funding winter since 2022. Industry insider are the expecting. Next articles पे 1 crore tax filer in the 5 to 7 lakh slab to benefit from new IT plan. Up to 1 crore taxpayer could benefit from the government decision to extend scope of the total rebate on income tax under the new tax regime to annual income of 7 to 5 lakh. Earlier source the government told the Indian Express. तो उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल दिया गया है. अडानी स्टॉक plunges furthest post 20,000 crore FPO call off. Share of Adani Group की जो continue remaining under the pressure on Wednesday. The additional decline came after the Adani Group announced the late Wednesday evening that it held the decide to call off the 20,000 crore FPO. Adani Enterprises Limited said that it will be refund the money to investor. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया है. Johnson and Johnson, brother of the UK ex-PM, quiet to as the director of Adani linked firm. Lord Joe Johnson, younger brother British former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, has resigned to his non-executive directorship in the UK-based investment firm linked to with the non-withdrawn of Adani Enterprises follow-on public offer. तो उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल दिए गए. Firm had to fire 5% of its workforce in October 2022. Baiju lay off the over 1,000 more employees. 4 months after it had laid out the 2,500 people. Edit Firm Baiju's India most valued startup is learned to have fired at least 1,000 more people according to 3 people in the new. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिया गया. European Central Bank outpost the US Fed with half-point rate hike. European Central Bank have the chuggest ahead of the another outsized interest rate increasing, underlying its drive to serve back high inflation. Even the European economy saw as the US Federal Reserve its piece of the hike. तो उसके ऊपर ये आर्टिकल दिए गए. अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट पेज पे. नेक्स्ट पेज जो स्पोर्ट की है तो आज के द इंडियन एक्सप्रेस न्यूज़ एनालिस्ट पे इतनी. थैंक यू, जय हिंद. वीडियो पसंद हो तो वीडियो को लाइक करना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें.